All right, so imagine you could see the air you're breathing.
Oh, wow.
What would it look like? Would it surprise you how much is actually in there, impacting our health, both indoors and out? That's what we're diving into today.
Absolutely.
In this deep dive, we're going beyond just summarizing an episode we found called How Air Quality Affects Your Health. We're really going to extract the most useful information for you
Yeah,
and give you the tools to protect yourself and the people that you care about.
exactly.
Get ready to be surprised by what we uncovered.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in here that people don't realize about how big of an impact it actually has.
I was thinking about it, and one thing that really stood out to me is how much time we actually spend inside.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And if you think about it, even if the air outside is pretty good,
Right.
you're still spending the majority of your time indoors. So what's going on in there?
Exactly. And that's something the episode highlights really well, that indoor air quality can actually be worse than outdoor air quality in many cases.
Yeah, and it's not just like obvious things like, if you live in a city with a lot of smog, you're going to have bad air quality.
Right.
But they were talking about how things like cooking,
Oh, yeah.
cleaning, these everyday things, they release pollutants into our homes.
It's true.
I never really thought about like frying an egg being a potential health hazard.
Right. We think about pollution as this big outdoor thing, but it's in our everyday lives.
Yeah, so break this down for us. What kind of stuff are we talking about here?
So when we talk about air pollution, we're talking about a mix of things.
Okay.
There's particulate matter, PM for short.
Okay.
These are tiny particles, you can't even see them, that can get lodged deep down in your lungs.
Oh, wow.
Then you've got volatile organic compounds, VOCs.
Yeah.
They're released from things like paint, cleaning products, even new furniture.
Huh.
And of course, you've got things like mold spores, which we all know can be a problem.
Yeah, and so it's not just about like avoiding those super hazy days when you can visually see that the air quality is bad.
Exactly.
It's about this kind of like low-level exposure.
Yeah, it's the cumulative effect
Yeah.
that they talked about in the episode. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Even low levels of these pollutants, if you're breathing them in day after day, it adds up over time, and it can increase your risk of all sorts of problems.
Like what?
Well, respiratory problems like asthma,
Mm,
heart disease, and there's even growing evidence that it can have cognitive impacts.
so like brain fog, memory issues, that sort of thing.
Exactly. It's scary stuff.
And certain groups are more vulnerable.
Right. Absolutely. Children,
Yeah.
they breathe in more air relative to their body size, so they're getting a bigger dose of these pollutants.
Wow.
And the elderly are often more sensitive to changes in air quality because their bodies just aren't as resilient.
Really makes you think differently, like as a parent.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you really think about
Absolutely.
the choices you're making.
Yeah, protecting those around you.
Yeah. Okay. So knowing this,
Yeah.
what can we actually do? Like, give us the good stuff here.
All right. So the episode had some really practical tips. Let's unpack those.
Okay, Brett.
First one is ventilation.
Okay. So like opening windows.
Exactly. Even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference.
Really?
Yeah, open your windows for 5-10 minutes a couple times a day, especially in rooms where you're generating pollutants, like the kitchen.
Okay. That makes sense.
And in the winter, when it's cold, what do?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Well, they talked about using exhaust fans while you're cooking
Oh, right.
to remove those fumes directly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you can look into things like heat recovery ventilators,
Okay.
which bring in fresh air, but they preheat it with the outgoing stale air so you don't lose all your heat.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, technology to the rescue.
Okay. So ventilation. Check.
Yeah.
What about air purifiers?
Air purifiers are great, but not all air purifiers are created equal.
Okay. What should we be looking for?
The key is to look for one with a HEPA filter.
HEPA filter. Okay.
That stands for high efficiency particulate air.
Okay.
And these filters are designed to trap those tiny particles that we were talking about.
Okay.
They can remove up to 99.97% of particles as small as 0.3 microns.
Wow, that's tiny.
Yeah, smaller than a human hair.
So definitely go for the HEPA filter.
Absolutely.
All right. What else can we do?
Well, the episode also talked about low VOC paints and cleaning products.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about those.
Yeah, so low VOC basically means they release fewer of those harmful chemicals.
Okay.
And they actually mentioned a study in the episode that found using low VOC paints can reduce indoor VOC levels by up to 50%.
Wow. So that's a pretty big difference.
It's huge, especially if you're sensitive to chemicals.
Yeah. Okay. Worth looking into.
Absolutely.
What about masks?
Yeah, so we usually think about masks for outdoor pollution, but they can also be helpful indoors.
Huh. Okay, interesting.
If you're dealing with something specific, like dust from renovations, or if someone in your house is sick.
Yeah.
But just like air purifiers, not all masks are created equal.
Okay, so what do we need?
If you're trying to filter out particulate matter, you want an N95 or a P100 mask.
Right.
These masks form a tight seal, and they filter out at least 95% of those tiny particles.
Got it.
So it's important to get the right kind of mask.
Yeah. Okay, and what about air quality apps? Are those helpful?
They are super helpful.
Okay.
They can help you stay informed about the air quality in your area and make good decisions about when to go outside, when to take precautions. And are there any specific apps that you recommend?
I know there's a lot out there.
There are a ton. Look for ones that use data from reliable sources like the EPA's Air Now app
Okay.
or your local air quality agency.
Yeah.
A lot of these apps use a color-coded system to show you the air quality levels.
That makes it easy to understand.
Yeah, so you can easily see if it's safe to go for a run or if you need to wear a mask.
So it seems like the main takeaway here is we can't always control the air outside,
Yeah.
but we can control what we do inside
Exact.
to create a healthier environment.
Absolutely.
We can make better choices about how to protect ourselves.
100%.
It's empowering in a way.
It is. It's taking control of your health.
Yeah, so now that you know all this, think about it. What will you do differently tomorrow?
Right. What small changes can you make that might have a ripple effect on your well-being?
Keep breathing easy and stay curious.
There's always more to discover.